So we're going to write the equation of the line that's parallel to y equals negative x, and it has to pass through the given point. So if it's parallel, we need the same slope. So the slope in the line that we are given is the number in front of x, which is negative 1. And it's the same slope, so we're going to keep that negative 1. And we're going to go through the point 5, 2.5. So we could go with our point slope, y minus the y point, 2.5, equals m, the slope, times x minus the x coordinate from the point, 5. Then we will distribute. You get negative x plus 5. And then we will get y by itself, so we can have it in slope-intercept form. We're going to add 2.5. So we get 7.5. For our next example, identify the slope from the line that they give us. So 3 over 2 is the slope. Since we're doing parallel, we're going to keep that slope. 3 over 2. And then we go into slope, or point slope form. So y minus the y coordinate equals m. X minus the x coordinate, so minus negative 4 plus 4. Then distribute the slope, 3 over 2 times x, and then 3 over 2 times 4 over 1. Numerator to numerator, that's 12. Denominator to denominator, that's 2. The minus 0 doesn't do anything, so we can simplify the 12 over 2 to get 6. And now we have slope-intercept form. For perpendicular, it's a very similar process, except we take the slope that we're given, and since it's perpendicular, we're going to flip the slope and change the sign, opposite reciprocal. So you take the 3 over 2 and you flip that, you get the reciprocal, which is 2 over 3. And then since it was positive, perpendicular is going to have a negative slope. And we'll use that slope, 3 comma or the point 3 comma negative 1. You get y minus the y coordinate, so y minus negative 1 plus 1 equals the slope, x minus the x coordinate, which is 3. Then we distribute over 3 times x, negative 2 over 3 times x, and then negative times negative is positive. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. We can reduce that or simplify that. And then subtract the 1 over. So our perpendicular line is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1. So for the perpendicular to y equals negative 4x, the slope that's in the given line is -4. So the perpendicular slope is going to be the reciprocal. So if that's 4 over 1, the reciprocal would be 1 over 4. And then the given slope was negative, so you change the sign to a positive for our perpendicular slope. And then plug it all into point slope. So y minus the y coordinate, y minus 0, equals 1/4, x minus the x coordinate, which is 0. Those zeros don't mean anything, so it's just y equals 1/4 x. That's our perpendicular line. So the last type of example we're going to look at is when you have 2 points for a line, and you want to know if the 2 lines that were given are parallel or perpendicular, or neither, if they just intersect or whatever. So all you need to do is you need to know the slopes, and then you're going to see if they are the same slope, that means they're parallel. If they're opposite reciprocals, that means they're perpendicular, or if there's something else, they're neither parallel nor perpendicular. So the line that passes through 5, 6, and 0, 2, we need to get the slope. We're going to use slope formula, which is on our very first page of our notes. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I always call the first point x1, y1, the second point x2, y2. It doesn't actually matter. It'll work out the same if you had that reverse. And you do y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 6, over x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is 5. Two minus 6 is -4. 0 minus 5 is -5. Negative over negative is positive 4/5. We'll do the same thing for this other line. We know that we'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2, and plug it into slope formula. y2, which is -4, minus y1, 1, over x2, 6, minus x1, 2. And we get -5 over 4. So we have our 2 slopes, 4/5 and -5 over 4. It's obviously not the same slope, so they're not parallel. We do have a positive and a negative, so they are opposite signs, and we have 4 over 5 and 5 over 4, so they are reciprocal. So that means that they are perpendicular. If they weren't opposite reciprocals and they weren't the same thing, then they would just have neither. They would be neither parallel nor perpendicular.